Good morning and welcome to Business Morning, a segment of our breakfast show where we take a deep dive into trends shaping Nigeria's business and economic outlook. My name is Deborah Ezeh. Thank you for starting your morning with us. Now let's move to the first conversation for today. We turn our attention skyward to Nigeria's aviation sector, an industry with enormous potential but still underperforming in terms of its contribution to GDP. Despite being a vital enabler of trade, tourism, and investment, the sector faces others such as inadequate infrastructure, high operating costs, foreign exchange constraints, and policy inconsistencies. With government reforms underway and growing interest from private investors, the big question is what strategies can truly unlock the aviation sector's potential and make it a stronger driver of economic growth? Joining us this morning to explore this subject is Musa Sunusi Ahmad, is the principal trade media company and also the president, Nigeria Air Sports Federation. Good morning, Mr. Musa Sunusi. It's good to have you on Business Morning this morning.
Thank you for having me, Deborah. It's nice always being with you here.
All right. Let's go straight into the conversation. Now, let's look at the current landscape. How would you assess the state of Nigeria's aviation sector today? And I'm talking about particularly in terms of its contribution to the economy.
Okay, Nigerian aviation sector is really a big economic powerhouse for Nigerian economy. But to be sincere, the sector has been suffering and struggling with a lot of inconsistent policy, a roadmap, and all other arrangement that will make it be what it's supposed to be, especially with the traveling habit of Nigerians and also the lifestyle of so many wealthy Nigerians who like to travel by air. But despite all these potentials that the economy have, we still don't see economic value from the aviation sector, because as we speak today, the aviation sector and its contribution to our GDP is less than 1%. Even with the revision of the MBS data system and collection, it still is less than 1%, which is roughly around 0.5 to 0.809, even with the revision of the MBS data. This is telling you that is a sector that's supposed to contribute to our tourism, contribute to our trade, contribute to employment. Because if you look at the employment viability of the sector, is very good. Is very good and resilient. But due to the lack of economic, the financial buoyancy of Nigerians, many Nigerians, large majority of Nigerians, their financial buoyancy cannot afford to fly by air. And likewise, even with the 31 airports we have, less than let me say less than 5% to 9% of these airports are active. We don't engage them. We don't have any economic activity around those airports. It seems to be it's just political maneuver by creating those airports. Because instead of even creating airport by most of this state government, it's better to even create an economic zone with airport and helipad attached to it, or a runway. So in case there is need for airplane to land in that economic zone, there is all viability of that an arrangement. But if you look into the contribution to the GDP, really is minimal. It's supposed to give a lot of contribution and also empower the economy. Because, for example, if you take the aviation sector in Nigeria, we only offer one service across the value chain, which is the airplane activities. I mean the service sector, which is the service amenities sectors, which is booking flights, and most of those activities are activities that will have helped the economy if where we are into manufacturing of aircrafts, both commercial and military. We are into designing and redesigning and refurbishing of airplane, and also our MRO sector, which is maintenance, repair, and overhaul sector, is really advanced. Because MRO is a big economy. If you have, like, for example, Kanu airports, is because with the low level of connectivity and lack of investment by the federal government and the state government to attract engagement, even from neighboring nations like Cameroon, Niger, Chad, which are all close to their proximity to Kano Airport is good. And history have shown that, if you remember the days of WAPA, everybody comes to Kano to fly to UK, to all European countries, from all these Francophone countries like Niger, Mali, and even down to Burkina and Algeria. They come to Kano to fly. And people from Chad, Cameroon, they came to Kano to fly. So imagine Kano, state government and federal government are putting investment to attract travelers to Kano. Because if you check, for example, a lot of people in the aviation sector, especially airlines, we have almost 39 air operators in Nigeria, both private and commercials. But they don't understand how to attract engagement, business engagement. For example, we have a lot of cultural activities, we have religious activities, we have all sorts of tourism that these airlines and air operators need to invest in such activities that will attract people to be coming to Nigeria and choose them as the viable airlines to connect them to Nigeria. And likewise, almost all the air operators in Nigeria, they don't know their target audience. So everybody is their audience, which is a very big problem. And that is why they don't know how to invest. They don't know how to strengthen their market, and forgetting that at the center of all their activities is marketing, because most of these airlines is like, they get all these airlines through leasing arrangement. They don't own them. So they have nothing to lose than to just invest in marketing to attract a lot of businesses, a lot of clients. And don't forget, we have issues of security, insurgencies in the country, which have really increased the rate at which people fly. Because, for example, a lot of people before traveling to KB, Maiduguri, and even Yola, they have no business flying. They prefer to just follow road. But due to insecurities, challenges, and other footholds around the roads in Nigeria, people prefer to fly, not because of flying is their most selected choice of traveling. So if we are investing a lot in this sector, it will boost the economy, even with all the arrangement that, okay, by 2020, 30, 20, blah, blah, we'll contribute 5%, 10% to the GDP. I'm telling you, if we don't make the necessary arrangement, especially from the angle of infrastructure, from the angle of policy alignment, and also the policy security, because like today, for example, the current minister of aviation and aerospace development, when he comes into office, he decided to stop the long-term vision and plan of Nigeria, which is Nigeria Airways. So imagine that, okay, he come and he suspended. We know there are a lot of brouhaha, there are a lot of issues of corruption, but this is a mission that Nigeria wants to have a national career.
All right.
It's not a personal mission or a political mission. So I'm telling you, we have a lot of tendency to contribute to the economy.
Okay.
And not to forget about the education side. We have NCAT in Zaria. We have other private aviation training. And we have even cabin crew training schools that help people prefer for a lot of licensing arrangements.
Mr. Musa, you've taken us through the current landscape and also the challenges, that are key obstacles in the aviation sector. So now let's move our focus to the GDP contribution. Now, at present, the aviation contributes only a small fraction to Nigeria's GDP, like you mentioned when we started this conversation. So what opportunities exist to scale this up significantly?
Okay, at first, the opportunities that exist are as follows. For example, um, first is understanding the opportunities available, which the data can offer us that. We have online travel agencies or directories or e-commerce facilities like Workana. They know a lot of travelers' behavior when it comes to booking flight, choosing all those things. And we also like to collect a lot of information about the behavior of Nigerians come to using uh, flights, especially when it comes to African connectivity, when it comes to local domestic flights and all these international flights. Because if you check, for example, in Africa, we have the highest number of air operators, certified air operators in the continent. But how many flights we have? How many of them do we have? You can tell that we have that numbers of registered air operators, but the number of planes that we have is little low. And also the level, the quality, and the how modern, how recent, how current our planes, our aircraft are. You can see that most of our aircraft are old enough that all these challenges of okay, when you enter or when you enter an airline aeroplane, that you must switch up your phone 100% before the flight for the plane to take off, and when landing too you have to switch up, when already the technology is there that all you need to do is click the flight mode or flight mode, and that is all. But because of all these hurdles, we can understand really the opportunity. But the opportunity first line in the experience and the certainty, and also the training sector. If we could be able to service our client very well, first know who our client, not just be chasing every other person. Airpeace needs to understand which kind of client did he target. Max Air need to understand. Renault Air need to understand all this. And even the areas of this world, all these local airline, even airline, and they need to understand that the infamous comfort economy is all about understanding the people you are serving, because it's a luxury to fly. It's a luxury to fly because there are all other options. You can fly by road, you can fly by water, you can travel by water, road, and all other options. So the major thing we need to do is also the investment in infrastructure. We have an island airports and all other travel runways. They are all enough, and also the technology we are using. We need to improve, and more than anything is attracting travelers. Aviation is all about servicing clients. You need to understand, and also the design and manufacturing. We have to invest a lot in the local manufacturing of aircrafts, and also the MRO is a big economy. I don't care even getting into manufacturing than I care that Nigeria involved into MRO. Let's have a lot of MRO facilities whereby international planes are coming to Nigeria for all this repair and maintenance, because that is a key thing that will give avenue to recruit a lot of people, a lot of graduate from the engineering schools who have no job to do. And every day we are producing them, they can get job. And this is a big economy. We have a port, and we can connect a lot of these ports to our airlines, and also railway system. And these engineers can get a lot of opportunities. And also the training. We need to create a lot of trainings, especially in the area of communication, in the area of conflict resolution for our cabin crew, treatment, and all the things. This is a big opportunity. As we speak today, we have less than 3,000 cabin crew. So, and most of our cabin crews are not joining international airlines, which is where the opportunities are. You can see that a Nigerian cabin crew, a licensed cabin crew, have been servicing one airline for years, which is good. But the services and treatment is really terrible for most of these people. They live on tips by client on airline. And again, the area of like, for example, in Nigeria, we need a sovereign wealth fund or a kind of national aviation Development Fund, where I could be funding a lot of this initiative and meet up with all the opportunities around. And likewise, the presidency needs to understand that this sector is one of the sensitive sectors. We need to send a message. But for example, let me just tell you, as we speak, before, when I travel, when I come back, I used to see the NTD, which is the Nigeria Tourism Development Authority, DEX, across our airports, both in Lagos and Abuja. But today, when I get down, I no longer see them. I don't know a reason why it's happening. And also, before, it's very easy to have some amenities,
I'll have to cut you there.
ground
I'll have to
amenities
cut you
and what
there, Mr. Musa. Let's shift our focus to the public-private partnership. And what role do you think, or do you think private investment and partnership, do you think they should play a role in expanding aviation infrastructure and services?
Exactly. I mean, 100%, Deborah. Because Deborah, if you see in Nigeria, we don't have money. The government of Nigeria don't have money. All these things that President Tinubu is talking there and there, because there is no money. He's trying to get money. Is someone who have promised that no loan, no this, no that. Now he's busy trying to get loans for Nigeria because we don't have money. We are not productive nation as we speak. So public-private partnership is the only way out for Nigerians. We need to involve the private sector and all other people that have resources to build the aviation sector in Nigeria. Not necessarily aviation sector, but all other sectors.
Okay.
So if this arrangement can come together, whereby we could be able to bring these people amicably and also have a contract whereby the government promised that throughout so years there is going to be policy security, whereby the president cannot just wake up and say another executive order is coming and they disrupted the aviation sector. Imagine the people who are into this airline operation. They try to say, okay, we want to start leveraging the bilateral air the bilateral air service agreements, which is the basis of this world. If we want to start competing and we have a very good competitiveness mechanism, we need money to do that.
Okay.
You can't compete with Virgin Atlantic, so British Airways coming to Nigeria and say that, okay, we have a large majority of diasporas, Nigerian diaspora in UK, so let's target these people and compete with British Airlines.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's very difficult if you don't have resources to do that. Max Air cannot compete, Air Peace cannot compete, and we cannot even talk of IBOM or aero contractors for that matter.
Okay, the regional and let's look at regional and global integrations. How do you think Nigeria can leverage agreements like the African Continental Free Trade Area or the Single African Air Transport Market to enhance our aviation sector?
The major thing is let's get involved in getting resources into this sector and also get people who are professionally good in managing money and resources, not necessarily people who have been veterans in aviation. All we need people who are good with finding money, finding investors, and people who are good in managing resources, and people who are good in monitoring and evaluation, and also making sure that everything is right. For example, think of the delays we have. Every now and then, in the last 2 years, I'm telling you, I have never traveled as planned. So in that case, it's telling you that we have issues when it comes to ground handling. So can we bring in people who are good? Can we get investors who can train people to be efficient when it comes to ground handling? Because the standard era when it comes to ground handling and making sure that the aircraft is tight, it has to be like 1 to 2%. That means you can't expect to delays me for more than 15 minutes. What is, before you know, they will say, okay, if you have a life-changing meeting in Lagos from Abuja, I'm telling you, if they add an hour, you have no means to travel to Lagos, and that is, they have deprived you of your destiny. and they have to pay the damage. But there is no arrangement. The Nigerian Customers Association is not even active. They already infiltrate a lot of conflicts in it, functions and all that. So their customers, they don't have even voice. The government agency responsible for customer protection too, they don't even listen. They don't sympathize the way to reach out to them. The Nigerian Orientation Agency, their campaigns are not, they don't have resources, the money even massive to do that campaign. So I'm telling you, we have a lot of other things. And for example, we run the Nigeria Air Sports Federation, and we run a lot of local small activities that will encourage the next generation of people, aviation staff, and all of the things. But the government too is frustrating us. A lot of policies, security challenges. For example, the time we organize, for example, drone racing, a lot of, before you know, DSS people are there, Nigerian NIA officers are there. They are saying that all sort of things. They are trying to frustrate you. So development it will be very difficult. So the more than anything is this diplomacy and agreement can only be leveraged when we have people who knows how to find resources, when we have the resources themselves, and we have people that will manage these resources. But you can't compete when you don't have resources and when you don't have the intellectual preparedness to compete and technical know-how to compete, because all these arrangements were arrangements that were designed to benefit both parties. But if both parties, they don't have power to do that, it's very difficult. For example, now we have been pleading that why not Nigeria cannot be able to do that. Let's patent Nigeria, sell that patent name of Nigerian Airways to a private sector person, and let this private sector take on the job of making these airlines. Even if we will start with like 3 or 2, and we make it consistent, and we'll be going routes like UK, Nigeria, which we have a lot of clients going, or like Saudi Arabia. And we started from there. In 1 year, 2 years, we developed, because we all have the agreement and international relations policy frameworks, but we don't have the competitiveness to leverage all these arrangements. Because in Nigeria, we are good. We are in arranging all those policies, in being part of a lot of things without understand how it will benefit our people. Think, for example, our cargo services. The rate at which we offer air cargo services is very low. And it's a big market. If with a lot of investment and technical manpower, we could be able to leverage more. Instead of building a lot of airports that are ghost airports, it's better to even build economic zones that could benefit the economy, create jobs. Because as we speak, there is nothing in Nigeria need than job creations. Any leader who cannot create jobs is just talking, making noise. Because a lot of Nigerians are jobless. They don't have means of livelihood, and that is why they are involved in a lot of things. A lot of graduates who are they are prostrated. That is why we are becoming the capital of romance camps. So imagine we have arrangements to engage all these youths, or we have arrangement whereby we attract people locally. We don't even care, like now, for example, the rate at which we issue visa to a lot of media people, to a lot of business people coming to Nigeria, to a lot of tourists. Because all these things, that is what encourage domestic connectivity, airlines, connectivity and activities. So if there is no activities, nothing will happen. We have over 50% rate of international airlines than domestic airlines. The domestic connectivity and airlines activities is at less than 30%, or at highest it could be 36 or 37. So I feel like all these arrangements are there. We are part of IATA, we are part of ICAO, all these international organizations, we are part of it. But the issue we have is lack of resources, lack of policy consistency and security, and lack of accountability. All these people are not ready to be taken into account. Think, for example, the recent Kiamu. He complained about corruption, and from all his body language, there are lots of questions that he cannot answer from his day one to date. So we have to do, and think of the double standard with the recent saga between the double standard in treatment between Kwamwan and Comfort Emerson.
Okay.
So So
Thank you.
it's a lot of things. We have the policy, international relations framework, but we don't have the resources, technical capability, and policy security to do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musa Sunusi Ahmad, for sharing your insights with us this morning on Business Morning.
Thank you, Deborah, for having me always.
All right, do have a nice day. From everything that we discussed today, we can clearly see that the Nigerian aviation sector has immense untapped potential, and not just as a mode of transportation, but as a strategic driver of trade, tourism, and overall economic growth. Now, what remains crucial is consistency in policy, like our guest said, investment in infrastructure, and stronger collaboration between the public and private sector to ensure aviation truly becomes a key contributor to GDP. Now, that's been our first focus today on Business Morning. That's the Nigerian aviation sector strategy to boost GDP contribution. Do stay with us. There's more on Business Morning after the short break. Now, you're welcome to the Breakfast Show. This is still Business Morning. Now, let's move on to our second conversation for today. President Bola Tinubu has directed the finance minister to review the revenue deduction of key government agencies, including the Nigeria Customs Service, the NNPC, and two others, as part of broader effort to accelerate economic growth. The move signals the administration's intent to boost government revenue, enhance fiscal discipline, and ensure that critical funds are channeled into development priorities. But how would this directive impact the agencies involved, the wider economy, and ultimately investors and public confidence? Joining us this morning to break it all down is Adedoyin Faith Akinwale. He's a mathematician, PhD, Department of Mathematics, University of Lagos. Good morning, Mr. Adedoyin Faith. It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to you as well.
All right. So let's look at the big picture. How significant is this directive from President Tinubu to review revenue deductions by agencies like the Custom and NNPC in broader context of accelerating economic growth?
Okay. First of all, good morning once again. All right. The significance is basically looking at the economic itself and the deduction. The major reason why this is very important, or why the president has actually wanted this to happen, is to enhance our public savings, to improve our spending, and to make sure there's efficiency in resources towards the growth of promoting different sector in the economy. From NMPC, there have been lack of transparency, to truth be told, and especially when it comes to giving back and looking at the government revenue itself. And also, I know that the Minister of Finance, which is Wale Edun, has been mandated to submit a particular revenue list, and so far so good for the beginning of, I think, early this year, which he has yet to let us know what we have in the country and like that. So I guess the significance is just basically for the economic growth, and that is what the president is working towards this particular period of time. Thank you.
Mr. Adedoyin, it would be nice for us to put a face to the voice. We can't see you. Yes, please.
Oh, okay. That will just give me a few seconds.
Okay. All right, in doing that, let's look at the fiscal impact, if you can hear me. So, what effects could this have on government revenue mobilization and the Nigeria's fiscal space in general?
Okay. Okay. While trying to, I'm trying to make sure I have a good video. All right. I wasn't told about this before earlier. I will have actually put that in place. All right. For the physical impact, the first thing I want us to know that there will be an obviously increase in the net government revenue, and because many money will flow directly into the government account if the physical impact can be in place. Then secondly, there will be an expansion in the physical space, that is to review the government funds that has been coming from all those agency, the NMPC, the custom. I think there's not even that. I think FIRS as well, and also to get more infrastructure done from all those revenue gotten from them. Thank you. Let me put this video on.
Um,
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, let's look at custom and NNPC. Now, these agencies, they are major revenue earners, but they also have high operating costs. So how realistic is it to expect significant reduction in their deduction without disrupting their operations?
Okay, one of the first thing I will say is that the operation costs, we need to bring them to reality, especially when it comes to NMPC. NMPC is not just a one person thing. It's it's for the government, and we know. Also for the custom as well. But first, the custom, they need a substantial funding for a lot of things to be in place for them to be able to their operations be going on smoothly. First of it is their border security has to be in place, because I know custom as well, when they go out, they have to be well equipped, especially when it comes to arms, because even people they are dealing with, they themselves are at times they are always armed. Then secondly, there should be, by now in this country, we should have a strong anti-smuggling technology, and because that's what our like what we call abroad, most of them, that's what they do. There should be something like a tracking device, that any product coming from the outside the country can be able to be
get them. As well, when it comes back to NMPC itself, which we know that is that
Petroleum Industry Act, that's PAI, which is like a commercial entity that funds the exploration, pipeline maintenance, and fuel importation logistics. But permit me to say, if we say we should cut too deep into a deduction, it could cripple some operation, leading to inefficiency, the revenue leakage, and even fuel supply disruption. Also, it is realistic to expect significant reduction, but this cannot really happen overnight. It's something that has to go bit by bit, depending on when the whole thing or the whole operation we get used to, and that is when we can feel like there's a significant in the reduction of this particular revenue. Thank you so much, Ma.
All right, Adede, we're going to come back to you, but we'll go on a quick break now. When we come back, we're going to have other questions on this conversation. Just stay with us. All right, welcome back. We still have Adedoyin with us in the studio. So before we went on that break, we were speaking about customer and NNPC being a major revenue earner, agency revenue earner. Adedoyin, now let's just move to the implementation risk. What challenges do you think the finance ministry face in enforcing this revenue, and how can they be addressed?
Okay, one of the challenges I know they are facing is weak monitoring of infrastructure. One thing I have noticed so far from my own point of view is that when your government puts down an infrastructure, they don't tend to monitor or to maintain it, which it's a big deal in our country today. A lot of things has been created. There are a lot of things that are supposed to be working. Once they start to work for the first week or the first month or the first year, that's they don't tend to monitor it. So we have a lot of infrastructure that could have helped with this particular NMPC and custom that we're discussing now. But the only thing is that they have not been monitoring. There's no team, or maybe I would say there's a team. I would just say the monitoring infrastructure team are weak in what we have today in the country, and lack of real-time data. We don't put data to all these things. We don't even have a particular numbers. Looking at I think Ghana makes sure that everything they do in terms of petroleum, they they make sure it's always broadcasted in their news day-to-day activities. But here in our country, we do it at like, okay, whenever we feel like we want to do it, or whenever there is going to be an increment in price of a particular a commodity, especially when it comes to NNPC. That's when they know that, okay, this thing has to be done. So these are one of the challenges that I know that has to be in place. Then also the account enabling has been weak. We don't have a particular account, or I would say they have not been given adequate how would I put it, the report of how the revenue has been spent, or how the revenue has been used. So far so good. What has been coming in, what has been going out, which is a very big deal for us, and it will not make us go forward. And one of the solutions I think we can be able to do is to introduce a real-time reporting. Let's have a dashboard where every citizen can be able to always go to make sure they can always have access to it. And it can be under the office of the Accountant General of the country, and also the Minister of Finance too has to be involved when it comes to this particular implementation as well. Thank you.
Okay, so you've given us just one way forward, having explained the implementation rate. So beyond revenue deduction, what other fiscal reform should Nigeria be considering to accelerate growth?
Can you come again?
Now, we're looking at the way forward, and
Okay.
beyond let's look beyond revenue deduction. What other fiscal reform should Nigeria be considering to accelerate growth?
Okay. First, I will talk about is the tax system reform. I feel the tax system reform of Nigeria is below. I think there was a time it was announced on the news. I think sometimes early this year, March or April, if I'm not mistaken, it was less than 10%, and it's not something to write home about. I think that time there was a particular TV show that was comparing South Africa and Nigeria together. The South African tax system is close to 25%. And yet here in Nigeria, we have less than 10, which is nothing to write home about. So the tax system should be reformed. I think that's number one. Then also another thing I need to point out is we agree subsidy and energy sector reform too is another thing. The first subsidy removal was a major step, but electricity subsidy and inefficiency in the power sector still drain physical space. That one as well is another thing that we should work towards, which is a way forward for us. Yeah, because we agree, okay, the subsidy is in place now, but what are we saying, or what are we doing towards the energy sector itself? What are we doing towards electricity subsidy? Even now, anytime, any day, tariff just goes up, it comes down, we tell you they have one particular one band, this is that. So that has to be in check as well. Then also, I think the debt management reform too has to be in place as well, because we need to understand more reason. We need to have a genuine reason why the whole country will want to go and borrow money. And once you borrow, obviously you are in debt. So, but we need to understand, okay, and we need to let them know. Let us lengthen debt maturity. Let us know that, okay, this is the period of time we need to work. This period of time, this has to be in place. So those are those three reforms I think we need to reach that can strongly help us, which will be a way forward for us in terms of this revenue. That's the tax system reform, the subsidy, and the electricity sector reform as well, and the debt management reform. We agree that Nigeria is in debt. And that was the first thing that the president said when he came to power. I think that was what Buhari said in his own time too as well. So thank you so much.
All right. Many thanks to you, Adedoyin Faith Akinwale, for your insights this morning on Business Morning.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right,
thank you so much, ma'am.
Do have a wonderful morning.
Yeah, bye.
All right. What we've heard this morning, it highlights the fact that the president, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directive, to review the revenue deduction of agencies such as the Nigerian Customs Service, the NNPC, and others. It's more than an accounting exercise. It's about fiscal discipline, plugging leakages, and ensuring that more resources are available to fund infrastructure, social programs, and critical sectors of the economy. And I believe that if it's implemented efficiently, this move will send a strong signal of accountability. It will boost the government's revenue and ultimately help accelerate economic growth. But like I always say, the true test will be in how well these reforms are enforced, the transparency that follows, and whether ordinary Nigerians will feel the impact in improved services and opportunities. All right, that has been our focus today on Business Morning. I am Deborah Ezeh. Thank you for watching, and do stay with us as the breakfast show continues after the short break.